Most retirees don't realize this, but one simple retirement rule may already be costing them thousands of dollars. Quietly, year after year. For decades, Americans have been told the same thing. Just follow the 4% rule and you'll be fine. It sounds safe. It sounds smart. And because it's repeated everywhere, many people treat it like a financial law. That's the danger. If you want clear, honest retirement education that protects your money, subscribe to the channel now. Like this video if you've ever heard of the 4% rule but were never told its risks. Comment below if you've been told the 4% rule is all you need for retirement. The 4% rule was never designed to be a guarantee. It was based on historical market data, specific assumptions, and ideal conditions that rarely exist in real life. Over time, it shifted from a guideline into a rule people follow blindly, without understanding what it ignores. The biggest problem is that the rule focuses only on how much you withdraw, not when, why, or under what conditions. Retirement is not static. Markets move, inflation changes, expenses fluctuate, but the rule assumes everything stays predictable. From a financial perspective, this creates real damage. If markets perform poorly early in retirement, withdrawing a fixed percentage can permanently reduce your portfolio. Losses combined with withdrawals shrink your invested capital, leaving less money to recover when markets rebound. This is how retirees lose tens of thousands of dollars, not because they spent irresponsibly, but because they followed a rigid rule at the wrong time. Another overlooked issue is flexibility. The 4% rule doesn't adapt to life. It doesn't adjust for healthcare shocks, tax changes, or rising living costs. It treats retirement income as a math problem instead of a financial system that must respond to reality. Even worse, the rule creates a false sense of safety. Retirees feel protected because they are following the rule, while their purchasing power quietly erodes. Inflation alone can turn a safe withdrawal into an expensive mistake over a long retirement. The truth is uncomfortable but important. There is no single rule that works for every retiree. A withdrawal strategy must consider market conditions, portfolio allocation, time horizon, Social Security timing, and tax efficiency. Ignoring these factors is often what turns a well-funded retirement into a fragile one. The 4% rule didn't fail retirees. Blind trust in it did. Treating a guideline like a guarantee is often the first step toward losing thousands in retirement without ever realizing where the money went. After retirees accept the 4% rule as a law, a second and even more dangerous mistake quietly enters the picture. The belief that timing doesn't matter. The rule assumes that retirement can start at any moment and still work the same way. But financially, when you retire is often more important than how much you withdraw. This is where many Americans lose thousands without realizing it. If retirement begins during a weak or volatile market, period, fixed withdrawals can do permanent damage. Losses early in retirement combined with ongoing withdrawals reduce portfolio value faster than expected. Even if markets recover later, the money that was withdrawn during downturns is gone forever. This is known as sequence of returns risk, and it is one of the most misunderstood threats in retirement finance. The 4% rule completely ignores this risk. From an investment perspective, early retirement years are the most fragile. Portfolios are largest, withdrawals begin, and there is no longer earned income to offset losses. A rigid withdrawal rule applied during poor market conditions can lock in losses that compound over time. Many retirees believe they are being disciplined by sticking to the rule. In reality, they are often doing the opposite, withdrawing the same amount regardless of market conditions, portfolio performance, or long-term impact. This problem becomes even more expensive when combined with early Social Security decisions. Lower guaranteed income increases pressure on investment portfolios, forcing retirees to rely more heavily on withdrawals during precisely the years when portfolios need protection most. The result is a silent drain on retirement wealth. Two retirees with identical savings can experience completely different outcomes based solely on retirement timing. One retires into a strong market and the rule appears to work. The other retires into a weak market and loses tens of thousands following the same rule. The difference isn't discipline, it's timing. Retirement income strategies that ignore market conditions treat investing as a spreadsheet exercise instead of a living system. Over long retirements, that assumption often proves costly. The rule wasn't designed to adapt, and retirement rarely happens under perfect conditions. Here's another reason this retirement rule quietly drains wealth. It assumes your expenses will follow a smooth, predictable path. In theory, retirement spending looks stable. In reality, it rarely is. The 4% rule was built around averages. Average spending, average inflation, average market returns. But retirees don't live in averages. They live in real life, where expenses arrive unevenly, unexpectedly, and often at the worst possible time. Healthcare costs don't rise gradually, they spike. Home repairs don't spread evenly across decades. They hit all at once. Taxes don't stay constant. They change with income sources, withdrawals, and policy shifts. A fixed withdrawal rule ignores all of this. When unexpected expenses appear, retirees following a rigid rule often have only one option: withdraw more from their portfolio, regardless of market conditions. Those extra withdrawals may seem small in the moment, but over time they compound into thousands of dollars lost. The financial damage isn't immediate, and that's what makes it dangerous. Every unplanned withdrawal reduces the capital left invested. Less capital means less growth. Less growth means even higher withdrawals later. This feedback loop slowly weakens the retirement plan without triggering obvious alarms. Inflation magnifies the problem. Even modest inflation steadily increases the cost of living, while a fixed withdrawal mindset fails to adjust income intelligently. What once felt safe becomes increasingly insufficient, forcing retirees to pull more from savings just to maintain the same lifestyle. This is where many retirees feel confused. They followed the rule. They stayed disciplined, and yet the money feels tighter every year. The truth is that discipline without flexibility is not safety. Retirement income planning must respond to changing expenses, not pretend they don't exist. A rule that cannot adapt to real-life spending patterns turns normal financial surprises into long-term damage. The cost isn't just inconvenience, it's thousands of dollars quietly leaving the portfolio, one unexpected expense at a time. Here's where this retirement rule becomes especially expensive. It quietly fails over time. Many retirement rules are built around assumptions that sound reasonable on paper. Moderate inflation, stable markets, and a retirement that lasts long enough, but not too long. The problem is that real retirement rarely follows those assumptions. Inflation does not stop when you retire. In fact, for many retirees, inflation becomes more dangerous because income flexibility decreases while essential costs continue to rise. Healthcare, insurance, housing, and everyday necessities steadily become more expensive, even during periods when inflation appears low. A fixed withdrawal mindset struggles to keep up with this reality. What looks sustainable in the first 5 or 10 years of retirement can quietly fall behind in years 15, 20, or 25. The purchasing power of withdrawals erodes, forcing retirees to pull more money just to maintain the same standard of living. Over time, those incremental increases add up to tens of thousands of dollars. Longevity compounds the problem. Many Americans underestimate how long retirement actually lasts. Living into your late 80s or 90s is no longer unusual. A rule that works for a 20-year retirement can fail completely over a 30 or 35-year horizon. The 4% rule does not adjust for this risk. It assumes that time behaves nicely, that markets recover quickly, inflation remains manageable, and withdrawals remain sustainable. When retirement stretches longer than expected, the margin for error disappears. This is why retirees often feel financially comfortable early on, only to experience growing pressure later. The rule didn't break immediately. It broke slowly, year by year, as inflation and longevity worked against it. The most damaging part is psychological. Early success reinforces confidence. Retirees believe the plan is working, so they see no reason to adjust. By the time warning signs appear, options are limited and mistakes are harder to reverse. Inflation and longevity are not dramatic risks. They are quiet, persistent forces. And when a retirement rule fails to account for both, it doesn't just cost peace of mind. It costs thousands over the life of retirement. This is the most expensive part of this retirement rule. And the reason it costs so many retirees thousands without them realizing it. The problem is not the percentage itself. The problem is what it replaces. Rules like the 4% rule give retirees the illusion that retirement can be reduced to a single number. Once that number is chosen, everything feels settled. No adjustments, no deeper planning, no ongoing decisions. That simplicity feels comforting, especially after decades of work. But retirement is not a static math problem. It is a financial system. Income sources change, taxes change, markets change, expenses change, health changes. A fixed rule cannot respond to any of this. By relying on one simple withdrawal rule, many retirees never build a real retirement income strategy. They don't coordinate withdrawals with Social Security timing. They don't adjust spending based on market conditions. They don't manage taxes intentionally. and they don't rebalance income sources as retirement evolves. Each of these missed adjustments may seem small, but over time, they stack. A slightly higher tax bill here, an unnecessary withdrawal there, missed growth in strong years, forced withdrawals in weak years. Individually, they're easy to ignore. Collectively, they quietly drain thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, from a retirement portfolio. This is why two retirees with similar savings can experience very different outcomes. One follows a rigid rule. The other treats retirement as a dynamic system, adjusting income, investments, and withdrawals as conditions change. The rule promises certainty. Strategy delivers resilience. Retirement success is not about finding the right rule. It's about building flexibility into your income plan so it can survive real life, not just historical averages. The most dangerous retirement rules are not obviously wrong. They are too simple for a reality that is anything but simple. If this breakdown helped you see retirement planning more clearly, subscribe to the channel for weekly videos focused on retirement, income, Social Security decisions, and long-term financial stability. Like this video to support educational retirement content that goes beyond simple rules. And comment below. Have you been told to rely on a single retirement rule? The best retirement decisions don't come from formulas. They come from understanding how money actually behaves over time, what it replaces. Rules like the 4% rule give retirees the illusion that retirement can be reduced to a single number. Once that number is chosen, everything feels settled. No adjustments, no deeper planning, no ongoing decisions. That simplicity feels comforting, especially after decades of work. But retirement is not a static math problem. It is a financial system. Income sources change, taxes change, markets change, expenses change, health changes. A fixed rule cannot respond to any of this. By relying on one simple withdrawal rule, many retirees never build a real retirement income strategy. They don't coordinate withdrawals with Social Security timing. They don't adjust spending based on market conditions. They don't manage taxes intentionally. And they don't rebalance income sources as retirement evolves. Each of these missed adjustments may seem small, but over time, they stack. A slightly higher tax bill here, an unnecessary withdrawal there, missed growth in strong years, forced withdrawals in weak years. Individually, they're easy to ignore. Collectively, they quietly drain thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, from a retirement portfolio. This is why two retirees with similar savings can experience very different outcomes. One follows a rigid rule. The other treats retirement as a dynamic system, adjusting income, investments, and withdrawals as conditions change. The rule promises certainty. Strategy delivers resilience. Retirement success is not about finding the right rule. It's about building flexibility into your income plan so it can survive real life, not just historical averages. The most dangerous retirement rules are not obviously wrong. They are too simple for a reality that is anything but simple. If this breakdown helped you see retirement planning more clearly, subscribe to the channel for weekly videos focused on retirement, income, Social Security decisions, and long-term financial stability. Like this video to support educational retirement content that goes beyond simple rules. And comment below. Have you been told to rely on a single retirement rule? The best retirement decisions don't come from formulas. They come from understanding how money actually behaves over time.